VII, the ADEA and the ADEA make it unlawful for an employer to make an adverse employment decision because of an individual's race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, or disability. The most straightforward claim is one alleging disparate treatment discrimination, also known as intentional discrimination. Under this theory of liability, proving the motivation of the employer is key, but proving a person's state of mind is difficult. A manager's thought process cannot be observed, so her motivation must be inferred from statements and actions. One way a plaintiff may prove discriminatory motivation is with direct evidence, a written or oral statement revealing bias. For example, a supervisor calling an employee a black radical while firing him. The timing and context of a statement are important. For example, a supervisor's remark about Italians uttered to a coworker several months before the employee's discharge was not adequate to prove anti-Italian bias towards the plaintiff at the time of his discharge. The civil rights laws are decades old, and few supervisors, even if they harbor strong prejudices, are unwise enough to vent them. A more common and more complicated way an employee may prove intentional discrimination is through indirect evidence. Here, the plaintiff relies on the employer's actions to support an inference of unlawful motive. First, the plaintiff must present evidence that he or she was treated differently based on a forbidden criterion. Second, the employer can defeat the plaintiff's claim by presenting evidence that it had a legitimate business reason for its action. Third, the plaintiff can introduce evidence to show the employer's stated business reason was a pretext to hide the real discriminatory motive. This analytical approach, known as the McDonnell-Douglas burden-shifting framework, was announced by a Supreme Court decision in McDonnell-Douglas Corporation v. Green in 1973, and it's used in the vast majority of discrimination cases. Employers have many defenses available to them. Typically, an agency argues that the adverse action was prompted by a legitimate business reason and the supervisor had no discriminatory intent. But sometimes the evidence shows that the supervisor had a mixed motive, meaning that he or she was motivated by a legitimate business reason and an unlawful criterion. Under Title VII, if an employer proves it would have made the same decision without considering the illegal factor, the victim's remedies are limited to a declaration that the conduct was unlawful, reinstatement, and attorney's fees. Title VII and the ADEA prevent employers from segregating workers in positions on the basis of prescribed dimensions. But these acts allow segregations in the rare circumstances where there is an essential requirement of the position known as a bona fide occupational qualification, or BFOQ. An example would be auditioning only female actors for a female role. That would be an appropriate and applicable BFOQ. Race or color can never be used as a BFOQ. Today, BFOQs are seldom utilized because they're difficult to defend.